In her entire life, Su Nian has been most afraid of two things. One is rainy days, and the other is running into Shen Sihan. Rainy days remind her of that rainy night 6 years ago, when she dashed out of the Shen family's gate, dragging her suitcase behind her, the rainwater mingling with tears soaking her whole body. As for running into Shen Sihan, Shed thought it would never happen again in this lifetime. Then, Shen Sihan said with utter resolve, "Su Nian, if you're going to disappear from my world, just disappear completely." And she really did it. For 6 whole years, she ran a flower shop in a small northern town and adopted an orange tabby cat. Her day's work almond uneventful. She thought that this tranquil, stagnant existence was far better than the tumultuous storms she had once known with him. But fate never lets anyone escape its grasp, no matter how hard you try to avoid it. The people you're meant to meet will always find their way to you. Chapter 1. The Reunion. Su Nian was awakened by a call from her friend Bai Zhu, who had just been promoted to director and insisted she attend the banquet. The flower shop was closed the next day, so she agreed. She put on a black knee-length skirt and applied light makeup. At 20-8, fine lines had begun to appear at the corners of her eyes, yet her demeanor remained calm and composed. Much like a cool cup of white tea, Bai Zhu had reserved a private dining room in an old Western-style house in the city center, a cozy and lively private booth. Su Nian found a seat in a quiet corner, quietly sipping tea, when she suddenly heard someone nearby murmur, "Bashan is almost here." Her heart skipped a beat. She tried to reassure herself that the city was too big, such a coincidence was unlikely. The moment the door was pushed open, the atmosphere in the private room suddenly shifted. A deep, crisp voice tinged with detachment rang out, and Su Nian's fingertips began to tremble. 6 years had passed. Shed thought she had long since forgotten him. Yet her body proved more honest than her memory. This was Shen Sihan's voice. Seeing her pale face, Bai Zhu asked with concern. She raised her head and forced herself to appear calm, but her gaze inadvertently met Shen Sihan's eyes. Dressed in a dark gray overcoat and a black turtleneck, he stood even taller and more erect. His brows were sharp yet composed, exuding an aura of authority and confidence despite being only 30 years old. His gaze lingered on her for just a fleeting moment before turning away indifferently as if they'd never met before. Soon I unclenched the teacup so tightly that his knuckles turned pale. 6 years ago, he had asked her to disappear and she had done just that. Yet here he was, suddenly appearing in her world. At the dinner party, she remained silent throughout, finding it hard to swallow even a single bite of food. The surrounding noise seemed to be filtered through a layer of mist. She noticed the silver ring on Shen Sihan's left ring finger, and hastily looked away, telling herself it no longer mattered. Halfway through the dinner party, Bai Zhu, thoroughly drunk, started teasing everyone, introducing her as the former campus beauty and jokingly suggesting that she and Shen Sihan make a perfect couple. Su Nian's heart suddenly stopped beating. Without thinking, she glanced at Shen Sihan. He was quietly staring at her, his gaze so deep it seemed bottomless. Before she could stop herself, she blurted out, "Don't joke around. I already have a boyfriend." As soon as the words left her mouth, the temperature in the private room plummeted. She lied without batting an eyelid, daring not to meet Shen Sihan's gaze again, but she could still feel his sharp, piercing stare, like a blade that seemed to pin her down. When the dinner party ended, Su Nian practically fled into the elevator. Just as the doors were about to close, a hand braced against them, and Shen Sihan stepped inside. The space felt cramped. In the small space, the atmosphere was so oppressive it felt suffocating. "Boyfriend," he said with a hint of sarcasm. "Su Nian, it seems you've gotten even better at lying after 6 years apart." Su Nian raised her eyes and met his gaze. The elevator's white light outlined his sharp features, and the familiar scent of cedarwood perfume wafted toward her, exactly the scent that had once belonged to her. She forced herself to remain calm and said, "Mr. Shen, long time no see. Long time no see." He repeated those 4 words. His smile icy. You dumped me back then, now you can still wish me happiness with all the calmness in the world. The elevator reached the first floor, and soon Nian was just about to make a run for it, when he grabbed her wrist. Shen Sihan pressed the button for the top floor, and the elevator began rising again. He pinned her against the elevator wall, his voice laced with suppressed pain. You left without a word back then, and I spent months searching for you. That rainy night, I waited at the airport all night long, making over 100 calls, but you didn't answer a single one. I went to your hometown, and your parents told me you'd gone abroad, yet there wasn't a single record of your departure. It was as if you'd simply vanished from the face of the earth. Nian felt a lump in her throat and bit down hard on her lip, refusing to let tears fall. Shen Sihan cupped her chin, forcing her to give him an explanation. He pulled her into the stairwell, where the night breeze was slightly cool. In the darkness, he whispered softly, I hate you. He immediately kissed her. That kiss was laced with 6 years of anger, resentment, and longing. Rough yet fervent, like a form of retribution. Nian struggled twice, but in the end, she didn't push him away. She called and fooled herself. For 6 years, she had been longing for him to the point of madness. He suddenly shoved him away, her voice hoarse enough. Shen Sihan rested his forehead against hers, his eyes reddening at the corners. It's never enough, never, ever enough. Chapter to the past. The story of Nian and Shen Sihan began 10 years ago. At the age of 18, she had just been admitted to a university in Beijing from a small county town in the south, full apprehension and still very green. Shen Sihan was her senior student, the vice chairman of the student union, born into a prominent family and blessed with exceptional looks and character in the eyes of everyone. He was truly a prodigy destined for greatness. At the welcome party for new students, she fell instantly in love with him, but knowing full well how vastly different their lives were, she dared not even hope for any connection between them. Yet fate seemed determined to play a cruel trick in the library. After falling asleep and waking up, she found herself with a steaming cup of coffee and a note from Shen Sihan right in front of her. After that, he began appearing around her more and more often, whether in the cafeteria, the library, or on the way to her tutoring sessions. Everywhere seemed like a chance encounter. Finally, he waited for her right in front of the teaching building and confessed outright. Nian, I like you. Did you know? Nian lowered her head and refused. We're not a good match. Shen Sihan pressed her for the reason, but she found herself unable to say those words. I'm not good enough for you. Because of his sincere gaze, he said firmly, you like me too. Nian began her first love. That period was the happiest time of her life. Shen Sihan showered her with utmost tenderness, delivering breakfast every morning, staying by her side when she was sick, personally cooking for her on her birthday, taking her to explore every corner of Beijing, setting her photos as his phone screensaver, and proudly showing off about her to everyone he met. Nian often felt that, being as ordinary as she was, she could actually be loved so earnestly. Yet the price of happiness was Shen's family's opposition. On their first anniversary, Shen Sihan's mother, Lin Yanqing, invited her to meet. Her words were gentle, but her eyes were full of scrutiny, bluntly hinting that she was good enough for Shen Sihan. Afterward, Lin Yanqing investigated her family and spread rumors that she was cozying up to the powerful, causing her to face widespread criticism on campus. Even her close friend Bai Zhu was warned. On learning this, Shen Sihan had a fierce argument with his family and moved out of his home to live with her. During that period, she felt both joy and agony, hiding like an ostrich in fleeting moments of sweetness while ignoring the storm that was fast approaching. In her senior year, the storm finally struck with full force. Nian's father was held accountable for a factory accident and faced criminal charges, leaving her family already modestly off with no way out. Just then, Lin W. Anking heard Oren proposed a deal help her father avoid conviction and send her abroad, on the condition that she would never see Shen Sihan again. Sunayan looked at her frail parents and at the desperate state of her home, and finally agreed, tears streaming down her face. As requested, she enlisted a classmate to perform a cheating scene in front of Shen Sihan, coldly saying, "I don't love you anymore. Let's break up." She cowed and bared to meet his heartbroken gaze. So, she turned around and walked away. As soon as she rounded the corner, she broke down and burst into tears. 3 days later, she set off for a foreign country. Lin W. Anking kept her promise, and her father was eventually sentenced to probation. In a foreign land, she learned floral design, worked part-minus time to save money, and repaid every single penny of Lin W. Anking's financial support. She thought she could forget Shen Sihan, but he was like a scar on her heart. Every rainy day, it would ache faintly. Chapter 3. Cohabitation. The reunion completely disrupted Su Nian's life. She cowed and fell asleep all night, her mind filled with nothing but Shen Sihan's image. She wanted to run away again. But the next day she received a text message from him. "Move in with me tomorrow at Entrefuse. You know I can find you. Besides, you still owe me an explanation." After struggling for a long time, Nian finally succumbed to the longing deep within her heart and dragged her suitcase to his penthouse apartment. The space, spanning over 300 square meters, featured a cold, stark, and minimalist decor. No photographs, no decorations, utterly devoid of any hint of life minus in warmth, resembling nothing so much as a sleek model apartment. Shen Sihan arranged a separate room for her, and on the bedside table sat her favorite white chamomile he still remembered. The two began an eerie cohabitation, polite to the point of being like strangers. When Nian made breakfast, she'd prepare an extra serving when Shen Sihan left the house. He'd say thank you. She'd leave the light on, waiting for him to come home late, yet he rarely took the initiative to speak first. On the 7th evening, Nian finally couldn't hold back any longer and asked sharply, "You called me here but haven't said a word. What exactly are you trying to do?" Shen Sihan stepped closer to her, his gaze earnest. "I want to know why you broke up with me 6 years ago. What was going on with that guy? And what exactly have you been hiding from me? I know you still love me. You're just lying." Nian was almost about to reveal the truth, but Lin W. Anking's warning echoed in her ears. "If you leak any information, all assistance will be withdrawn. Your father will go back to prison." She forced herself to swallow the words and lowered her head, saying, "It's nothing, it's just that I've fallen out of love." Shen Sihan's eyes grew dark as he slammed the door and stormed into his room. Nian burst into tears, and from then on, he began leaving home early and returning late, sometimes even staying away for days at a time. She, in turn, stayed late at the flower shop, working overtime to numb herself with exhaustion. One evening, after working overtime and returning home, she found Shen Sihan sitting drunkenly on the sofa, with empty liquor bottles scattered in front of him. He grabbed her wrist, his voice as fragile as a child's. "Why don't you want me? What's wrong with me? You'll change." Nian crouched down, her tears splashing onto the back of his hand. "You're so good, it's me who doesn't deserve you." Shen Sihan cupped her face and gently wiped away her tears. "In this world, only you could possibly not want me. There's no way you could ever be unworthy of me." He kissed her again, this time with tender gentleness, as if afraid she'd vanish the next second. Nian didn't push him away. Instead, she let herself sink into this fleeting intimacy, pretending that they were still the loving couple they'd been 6 years ago. The next morning, Nian woke up to find that the room was empty. On the bedside table, there was a note left with a cup of lukewarm water and breakfast. She tucked the note away and resolved to move out. Last night had been a mistake, and she couldn't afford to get any deeper involved. She had just finished packing her bags and was about to step out the door when Shen Sihan returned. Upon seeing the suitcase, his expression instantly turned cold, and he snatched it back from her, asking, "Where are you going? We can't do this anymore. Last night was an accident." Su Nian avoided his gaze. An accident? Shen Sihan said in a cold tone. 6 years ago, after you left, I locked myself away for a whole week, refusing to eat or drink, and ended up hospitalized. For the next 2 years, I searched for you like a madman, scouring every single place without finding a single trace of you. I kept telling myself that you weren't worth it. So I threw myself into work, bought this apartment. Everyone thought I was living a good life, but all I was doing was merely surviving, not truly living. Sunayan looked at the cold, empty apartment and saw the sadness in his eyes. Her heart felt as if it had been sliced open by a knife. She knew she owed him the truth, but the chains of reality made it impossible for her to take even a single step forward. 6 years of suppressed feelings, missed opportunities, deep love, and lingering resentment have intertwined within this cold apartment, leaving a gaping rift between the two. Though they're clearly in love, they're separated by an unbridgeable chasm, a vast expanse of mountains and oceans. As for what lies ahead, she doesn't know. All she knows is that this belated reunion has already upended their once peaceful lives completely.